I'm Savannah Rudicel in Stockholm, Sweden, as MU's first Nobel Prize winner starts a busy week. Emily, this Target parking lot is serving as a headquarters for volunteer searchers. And that's because there's a phone tower just behind this Target, which was the last place that Aaron Brantley's phone pinged. Look at how strong these winds had to be to uproot this tree here. And there are trees down all over town. The ballroom at the Marriott in the St. Louis Grand has just now opened up, and that's just to the press. You can see behind us now, everyone's kind of getting their finishing touches. The trail is supposed to connect these East Columbia neighborhoods all the way to the edge of MU's campus and Rollins Street. Finding a good Christmas present now might take a little bit of luck, but finding a parking spot near the door would almost take a Christmas miracle. Officers are still here taking a look around. I've been watching them this afternoon and today. Search specifically in these top two apartments here. They've been looking all through there, taking pictures. Things Absolutely. The two big things that they really focused on was coverage of pre-existing conditions and the cost of health care. Holly says that patients with chronic illnesses like his son are being held hostage by Obamacare. Good morning, Jim and Emily. It is just now 5 a.m. here in Stockholm, Sweden, and the official Nobel after party is just now wrapping up as this rain is starting to come down. This is close to the end of a week full of international celebration. Now, the whole time that MU has been on this world stage, Dr. George Smith has really been keeping that down-to-earth attitude that helped him make this discovery.
Francis Arnold, one of this year's chemistry laureates, with George Smith and Sir Gregory Winter.
With a level of honor only the Nobel Foundation can bestow, most scientists would be over the moon. But Dr. George Smith is a bit more grounded than that.
Well, I feel pleased, of course. I mean, it's who wouldn't be pleased?
His friends and family are too.
You know, George and I have a really good marriage.
Margie Sable knows the man behind the award better than anyone.
The Nobel Prize is nice, and it's kind of like the icing on the cake. But the cake was pretty good before, without the icing. He also cares very deeply about the people he works with in all aspects of his life.
Smith says the researchers and former students who came to Stockholm with him are like family.
He demanded hard work, but he worked really hard himself, and it was hard not to respect him.
They say his lessons are ones they'll always remember.
George really gave me a strong foundation for how to do research and how to think about problems.
You just slog through it, and you make mistakes and realize that approach won't work, and you think of another. But that's part of the reason why, on a pretty much a daily basis, there was lots of conversation.
The Nobel Foundation recognized the sort of foundation Smith provided for the scientific community.
You know, for the latter parts of our careers, that we would like to do something that is useful for the world in general, and make whatever pitiful contribution we can to that.
There's little doubt our pasts shape us, mold us, forge us. Hartsburg blacksmith Don Aspie says a priest formed his past.
That priest is responsible for you getting into heaven. Essentially, that is what was drilled into me as a child, that if you make that man in the black dress mad, you're going to hell. Boy, this is tough.
Don says the abuse started when he was 5 in Pennsylvania.
This is a big deal. It really is. Because the children that are subjected to this invariably struggle later in life.
Although the incidents are in the past, the pain caused is still a present reality for the survivors of abuse and their loved ones.
Today, the Diocese of Jefferson City named 33 priests and brothers credibly accused of abuse. Bishop Sean McKnight talked about what others covered up for years.
I am ashamed and appalled at how some of my brother bishops and priests have harmed so many.
Don doubts the diocese's commitment to transparency.
I believe that list of 33 is just like, okay, here it is, we're done, all solved. It's like, we don't know that.
There's little wonder why he has so many questions, since his painful past shaped him.
There's a lot of people that are going to realize that, how much deception has occurred.
Republicans are publicly accusing McCaskill of using her seat in the Senate for personal financial gain. Take a listen.
McCaskill votes for subsidies. Her husband receives them. They both get rich, and you pay for it.
The ad cites an article that appeared in the Kansas City Star in July. The National Republican Senatorial Committee selectively pulled information from the article without providing any context. The ad fails to mention what is actually being subsidized. McCaskill's husband, Joseph Shepard, invests in companies that provide low-income housing. Those companies receive subsidies, which are used to give incentives to landlords to provide affordable housing for low-income, elderly, and disabled tenants. Shepard is a limited partner in the ownership companies and receives a share of the total profits. Law prevents Shepard and other investors from having any say in day-to-day operations or how government money is used. Knowing that, we can address the specific claims made in the ad.
The year before Claire McCaskill joined the Senate, her husband's company paid them less than $17,000. Now, up to $1 million per year.
This claim is incomplete. The figure was pulled from the senator's personal finance disclosure forms. Members of Congress report income only in a broad range of amounts, not exact amounts. The range Shepard's profits fall in is anywhere from $365,000 to just over $1 million. The NRSC focuses on the highest possible estimate.
Her husband's companies received $131 million in federal subsidies.
This claim needs context. According to the Star, those companies received $62 million during McCaskill's first term and $69 million in her second. However, those millions do not go directly into Shepard's pocket. Shepard is a limited partner who receives a share of the profits. FactCheck.org confirmed the vast majority of the money goes to operating costs for government-subsidized housing projects. And remember, Shepard isn't allowed any say in how the government money is used.
McCaskill votes for subsidies. Her husband receives them. They both get rich, and you pay for it.
This claim is mostly false. McCaskill does not sit on committees that allocate funds or government contracts. The Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs is partially in control of awarding government contracts. That committee is made up of 13 Republicans and 12 Democrats. Shepard's businesses received bipartisan support. Meanwhile, McCaskill votes on big-picture budget and appropriation bills. The Star says the senator's voting record is mixed. She's voted for bills that would benefit affordable housing programs and against others.
Claire McCaskill, a corrupt Washington subsidy Missouri can't afford.
These numbers are real, but the implication that Shepard is pocketing money at the taxpayer's expense is false. The Associated Press, FactCheck.org, and the Star article all show there is no evidence McCaskill directs federal funds to businesses connected to her husband.